Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and on this episode of Lost Film File, I'm going to be talking about the cutscenes of All Dogs Go to Heaven. All Dogs Go to Heaven was released on November 17th, 1989, famously against Little Mermaid, which didn't really work out for it. It bombed critically and at the box office, but would later do quite well on home video. But before it was released, mostly due to its sort of like darker themes and how sort of weirder it was compared to, I guess, The Little Mermaid. But it also is sort of a stranger movie, let's say, and does have darker themes about heaven and hell and so forth. And those darker themes were actually cut down from what it was originally going to be. After initial test screenings, I guess Goldcrest Films, but probably someone involved, MGM or so forth, decided to cut various things that they deemed to be too dark. And those in question are Charlie actually getting hit by the car. We don't see that in the movie. It cuts away before you see the impact. A longer version of the going to hell scene, and actually some mild cursing that got cut out. Now, the mild cursing, I can say, doesn't, to me, is like pretty forgettable, but apparently in the song, in the vinyl record version or the soundtrack, they do have the cursing in it, and it says, in the movie, he says, "That car face, I'll kill him," but on the soundtrack, he says, "Damn that car face, I'll kill him." That's kind of really mild. Everyone, I keep seeing articles saying there's more mild cursing. I'm not sure what that would be, and there are definitely things that are like cut around, particularly like the Tommy gun thing. You kind of pretty much think they mean a Tommy gun, but they look fairly badly dubbed into being like something else, so it doesn't look as harsh. That's never listed, but I have always wondered like what he's actually saying in that sequence. It looks fairly dubbed in that, and it looks like it was changed. But the two scenes that we are talking about in particular are Charlie getting hit by a car and the full uncut hell scene. Now, Charlie getting hit by a car, it's an obvious cut. Basically what happened is, apparently after they did the test screenings and they cut the scenes, Don Bluth always thought that eventually that they would release a director's cut. And in the mid-90s, he went to find this cut in storage, but it was mysteriously stolen, or no one has found this uncut director's cut with the footage of All Dogs Go to Heaven. And no one's really sure. I'm not sure which production company actually had this cut. It seems like Goldcrest Films, potentially because Gary Goldman, in an interview with Alternative Magazine or Alternative Magazine Online, said that Goldcrest Film didn't keep any drawings or original artwork or most of the backgrounds and everything. They destroyed it because they didn't want to store it correctly, and they thought that would cost too much money. Although if it was already in storage, I don't know why they would take it out, but whatever. But most of the artwork and everything associated with All Dogs Go to Heaven was unfortunately destroyed. And as well as the fact that I learned through doing research for this that All Dogs Go to Heaven, the aspect ratio of it, if you saw it in theaters, it was actually not even the correct aspect ratio. It was originally shot in 1:1:3:3, which is actually sort of more of a closer to a 4:3. So if you saw it on home video, you're actually getting the correct aspect ratio for All Dogs Go to Heaven. And so for a while, even though this film actually was a bigger hit on home video than it was in theaters, so that sort of worked out for it because most people saw the correct version. And then when people got widescreen TVs and DVD and stuff, they actually brought it back to the theatrical image, which was 1:1:85. Now we're actually losing the actual correct aspect ratio of All Dogs Go to Heaven, which we before had. Mask of the Phantasm had that problem because it was originally intended to just be on home video and then went to theatrical, so then they had to zoom in on it. This is similar to what happened to The Simpsons, both on TV and on Disney Plus and on the FXX thing, whatever. Now apparently that is a problem with the various cuts, and I've noticed that when I saw copies on YouTube and Tubi TV and so forth, that they are zoomed in. So unfortunately, we are also sort of losing like the top and the bottom of the frame because people aren't respecting the aspect ratio, but that I think we could actually get back if they just did what Batman Mask of the Phantasm does and give you the option to watch it both ways. However, okay, so although we haven't found any evidence or any shots or any frames of Charlie getting hit by the car, you just see him. You can't keep a good dog down, and then the car being pushed to hit him on the pier. The uncut hell scene was discovered by a Tumblr user, Steam Runner, in the summer of 2016. They were taking an animation class, and the woman who was teaching it, we don't actually know who this animator was, but she worked for Don Bluth and actually played the uncut hell sequence. And although I've noticed through researching this, and I almost got confused about it, is if the hell scene was cut out entirely, and there was no hell scene. I think maybe there's a TV cut of it. I actually remember that of my youth, that there was no hell scene. So maybe there's TV edits of it with that cut out. I'm not sure, I couldn't find any with it completely cut out. It is in there, but there are certain parts of it that are cut out, particularly the devil dog saying "now you are mine," which is absolutely terrifying, and a couple other things. This was played in the class, and Steamrunner, they took video of it on their phone and put it on Tumblr, and basically said that this animator had said that they found this footage in an archive, made 3 DVD copies, one for the person who found the footage, one to Don Bluth, and one to her. Which is interesting. We don't know who this animator was. I'm assuming because she said she worked at Disney and Don Bluth, potentially, and I'm reading into this, she's one of the animators that left Disney with Don Bluth to set up his own studio. It might not be, but hey, with the very limited info we have, possibly. But so we actually have the Uncut Hell sequence. A YouTube account, Aaron Stewart, put up the Uncut Hell sequence and put in the sequences that were cut out into the sequence that is in the movie, which is kind of helpful to see where it was. This sequence, the Hell sequence, is between when the little girl does her song and then goes to the family and they make her waffles, by the way, for wondering where this is in the movie. Also, there is one cell of the kind of, I guess it's the devil dog or a demon dog who says, "now you are mine." We have that as well, but that's pretty much all we really have of that sequence that was completely cut out of All Dogs Go to Heaven. Unfortunately, since there is an actual reel of the uncut director's cut thing that Don Bluth wanted to release somewhere, because someone either has it or I hope they didn't destroy it. I hope that is found at some point. I think it actually could, and I think people would freak out. It seems like the Hell sequence got a lot of press at the time. But the Hell sequence is, if you look on YouTube or Tubi TV, that is in the movie and that was in it theatrically. They just made certain cuts. I'm not sure why people think that was cut out entirely, but whatever. But it could be found. It's still out there, an uncut version of All Dogs Go to Heaven with all the sequences left in. And I'm curious to see, I guess part of this is like we're all curious to see a dog get hit by a car. I don't know if we actually want to see that, but those were some of the sequences that were animated and were finished and shown to test audiences. And with animation, you pretty much have to be finished if you're showing it at that point. So it'd be interesting to see some of these sequences. It'd be interesting to see that sequence and to see the full Hell sequence like presented and restored properly. I think it would do good for this movie. It's, maybe not my favorite Don Bluth film. I did review it. You can check out the card and there'll be a thing at the end screen as well. All Dogs Go to Heaven is, kind of like the transition between Don Bluth's later part of his career and the early part of his career. It's still a fun, good movie about New Orleans in the earliest 20th century. And I quite like it. While researching this, it grows on me more and more the more times I watch it, particularly Burt Reynolds' performance. And I think that should all be restored, and we should have the full uncut version of All Dogs Go to Heaven. So if you know anyone who has that copy of All Dogs Go to Heaven with all the uncut sequences or something like that, please release it in some way, or just let Don Bluth have it so he can release it, because I feel like this film should be able to exist into the full version that it was intended to be before test audiences got a look at it. So I think I'm also curious what, if you were in one of those test audiences, what it was like seeing the film that way originally rather than the one we saw it, but I haven't found any testimonials from any of those people. As of right now, it is completely lost, and sections of this kind of major classic animated film are just nowhere to be found. A film from 1989, which actually isn't that long ago, and a film most people know. And I think that's honestly very sad. I know Don Bluth's career had its ups and downs, and he wasn't treated well by certain distributors and film companies, but I think he does deserve the respect of having the uncut director's cut version of All Dogs Go to Heaven finally released. And I hope one day that happens, because I'm very curious what it's like to experience the entire movie the way it was originally intended, and hopefully also in the intended aspect ratio. So if you would like to talk about the lost scenes of All Dogs Go to Heaven, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.